What's going on, everybody? I'm Dave Loughran, and today we're talking top 8 breakout players for 2021. Why? Because it's fun, and I enjoy it. But also because if you hit on one of these guys that far outperforms their ADP, it could be the difference between you winning a league and not winning a league. So let's dive straight into it. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Clyde Edwards-Helaire saw his draft stock soar as we drew closer to drafting season last year. And while he wasn't exactly bad, he wasn't great either, finishing as the RB22 in his rookie season. Edwards-Helaire did miss 3 games, though, and Andy Reid has never been quick to rush his rookie running backs into a 3-down role unless he's forced to, like with Kareem Hunt back in 2017. But Reid does have a history of churning out elite running back seasons, from Brian Westbrook to LaShawn McCoy, Jamal Charles, and Hunt. As a matter of fact, dating back to the Westbrook bell cow era that began in 2004, Reid has produced an insane 13 RB8 seasons or better in 17 years, while 9 of those years his running back finished in the top 5. And despite not seeing a huge workload for the entire year, Edwards-Helaire was getting a massive amount of opportunities in the Chiefs' backfield before they signed Le'Veon Bell, averaging 18 carries and over 5 targets through the first 6 weeks on the most electric offense in football. He had 20-plus carries in 3 of those weeks and could return to that type of volume in 2021. If that's the case, Edwards-Helaire won't only be a breakout, but he'll crush his RB15 ADP in the process. Even if the Chiefs rank in the bottom half of the league in rushing attempts, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is primed for a huge season in his sophomore campaign. I talked about Adam Trautman in my tight end sleepers video a couple weeks back, but it's probably worth mentioning him again. The tight end position is so dreadful outside of the top few options that especially in best ball tournaments, it won't be a bad idea at all to take some shots on some of these late round flyers. Trautman's rookie season was much like most other tight ends, uneventful. But now he enters his second season with a gunslinger in Jameis Winston likely starting at quarterback and last year's starting tight end Jared Cook out of New Orleans. Not only that, Emmanuel Sanders is gone too, voiding 142 targets between the both of them. Granted, a healthy Michael Thomas is going to soak up plenty of those looks after playing only 7 games in 2020, but behind him and Alvin Kamara, you're looking at Traquan Smith, Deontay Harris, and Marquez Callaway. We don't need a huge season out of Trautman for him to break out at a 135 ADP and is the tight end 14. Given the tight ends being drafted ahead of him right now, Trautman could easily sneak his way into the top 10 finish at his position so long as Winston returns to his old ways. CeeDee Lamb was the wide receiver 24 in his rookie season, and the wide receiver 11 in the 5 games he played with Dak Prescott. Lamb was 10th in the league with 39 targets over that stretch and was well on his way to a massive rookie campaign. Prescott was also on pace to shatter the single-season passing yards record, but we all know how that ended. Lamb was forced to play the remaining 11 games of the season with one of Andy Dalton, Ben DiNucci, or Garrett Gilbert. Have you heard of them? And the results spoke for themselves. It's hard to believe that the Cowboys' defense will be as bad as it was last season, and a healthy offensive line should open up more running lanes and prevent Dallas from abandoning the run. But this is still going to be a dangerous unit with high passing volume and plenty of scoring. With that in mind, I don't see any reason why Lamb can't easily pay off a 4th-round ADP. And while we're on the subject, if you happen to miss out on Lamb and Amari Cooper, but want a piece of this Cowboys passing game, Michael Gallup is still a talented receiver who's become a complete afterthought following a disappointing 2020. You can get him much, much later in the draft and still get exposure to Dallas. T. Higgins went from playing 22% of snaps in week 1 of his rookie season without seeing a single target to 65% of snaps in week 2 and never looked back. From weeks 2 through 11, which was the last week Joe Burrow played before a season-ending knee injury, Higgins was 12th in targets, 20th in receptions, and 16th in yards. Meanwhile, Tyler Boyd was 7th in targets, and A.J. Green was 19th. Needless to say, Joe Burrow was forced to throw a lot, but he was always under pressure, where he failed miserably, completing only 37% of passes with 4.2 yards per attempt. Fast forward to 2021. A.J. Green is gone. The Bengals' offensive line still shouldn't be great, but they've made moves to improve it, and Joe Burrow can hopefully play more than 10 games this season and show improvement upon his rookie campaign. Higgins was wildly impressive as a rookie, but like CeeDee Lamb, he predictably fell off when he was forced to catch passes from Ryan Finley and Brandon Allen. Jamar Chase is going to be an animal at the NFL level too, and is the most NFL-ready receiver we've seen in a while. But he's being drafted around the head of Higgins right now despite not having played a single snap in the NFL. I get it, and he already does have that rapport with Joe Burrow. But this offense can easily support 2, maybe 3 high-end receivers in 2021, and Higgins should not be overlooked. TJ Hockenson is going into his 3rd year, which many say is the make or break season for tight ends. I'm not really sure I buy that though. Either way, we're talking about a former 8th overall pick who after the past offseason has become the de facto number 1 receiving option in Detroit, ahead of players like Brashad Perriman, Tyrell Williams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, I'm not saying one of those guys can't become Jared Goff's favorite target, but there's never been an easier path to elite tight end production for Hockenson than 2021, with Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones no longer in town. Surely Goff is a fantasy downgrade from Matthew Stafford, but he'll still have to throw at a high clip considering the Lions have the 2nd lowest win total in football and a defense that graded dead last in 2020 according to PFF. And once you get past Hockenson in the draft, the tight end position pretty much bottoms out. It might not feel like it, but Hockenson was the tight end 5 last year and was one of the only 5 tight ends to eclipse 100 targets. Given the dearth of options in the Lions passing game and likely need to play catch up most weeks, I wouldn't be surprised to see Hockenson turn in a 1,000-yard season, even if maybe the touchdown totals aren't at an elite level. You might consider Courtland Sutton's 2019 campaign a breakout season, but I'd say he came up a bit short despite the impressive year. He was poised for a huge 2020 before a week 1 knee injury derailed his entire season. But we now enter 2021 and he's being drafted less than 1 round ahead of teammate Jerry Jeudy, despite posting an 1,100-yard season just 2 years back. And he did so with Joe Flacco, Brandon Allen, and Drew Lock as his quarterbacks. So the questionable QB situation in Denver shouldn't be a major concern. Also, Teddy Bridgewater, who could be the Broncos' opening day starter, produced 2,000-yard receivers in Carolina last year and saw 4 of his weapons rack up more than 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Jerry Jeudy still has yet to establish himself and dropped more passes than anyone not named Deontay Johnson in 2020. Sure, there are more mouths to feed in Denver than there were in 2019, but Sutton's ADP has dropped into the 6th round, and it appears that his injury is baked into his price tag a lot more than the potential to pick up where he left off before it ever happened. Laviska Shenault's rookie campaign was actually quite productive given the circumstances. The Jaguars went 1-15 on the season and had arguably the worst quarterback play of anyone in the league, with weekly dumpster fire performances by Gardner Minshew, Jake Luton, and Mike Glennon. I'm sure you can see a trend forming here. 3 of the players on this list are second-year receivers who suffered through awful quarterback play in their rookie years. Shenault is clearly no exception, but still managed a wide receiver 45 performance and finished the season strong with 11 receptions, 116 yards, and 3 touchdowns over the final 2 weeks. What's most encouraging about Shenault for 2021 is twofold. First, Urban Meyer has enjoyed plenty of success using versatile receivers like Shenault, who had 18 carries for 91 yards last year, but can also make plays anywhere on the field. Second, Trevor Lawrence, even as a rookie, is a massive upgrade from that mess of a quarterback situation we saw in 2020. DJ Chark isn't going anywhere, and newly acquired Marvin Jones will be a factor too. But all of the physical tools and the conditions are there for Shenault to break out in year 2. It's also nice to know that Jaguars beat writer Michael DeRocco noted that Shenault has looked like the team's best offensive player during OTAs and training camp. You can draft him right now as a fringe starter or a bench player, which is good enough for me. Tyler Higbee produced one of the most ridiculous stretches of games from a tight end ever towards the end of the 2019 season. Over his final 5 weeks, Higbee racked up 48 receptions for 522 yards and 2 touchdowns, while posting 4 consecutive 100-yard performances in the process. And all of those games came with Gerald Everett either sidelined or extremely limited, which is one of the main reasons why Higbee's 2020 season was such a disappointment. But things have changed for 2021. And while Higbee going into his 6th year isn't exactly your typical breakout candidate, there's always an exception to the rule. Everett is now in Seattle, leaving Johnny Mund and Bryson Hopkins as the remaining tight ends on LA's roster, and Matthew Stafford joins the Rams as a significant upgrade from Jared Goff. Furthermore, Sean McVay finally has a quarterback who can open things up and really allow him to expand his play calling. I saved Higbee for last because I'm not sure there's a more undervalued player right now. His ADP is almost in the triple digits despite the tight end position being so weak, and we've already seen what he's capable of doing when the opportunity comes knocking. I expect the opportunity to come knocking in 2021. That'll do it for today. Be sure to head over to awesemo.com, check out all the content, plenty of free content over there, and head to our new channel, Awesemo Fantasy Football channel, right here on YouTube. You got daily fantasy football content. We're churning it out as quick as we can to get you guys ready for these drafts. Good luck. We'll see you back here for the next one.